They say a fate's coming to Scotland. And it's not your average scrap.
Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship live from Glasgow, Scotland.
You know where to find me.
Scan the QR code now for tickets to the epic clash at the Castle.
You are listening to your Clash at the Castle preview here on the Lock Betting podcast, simulcasting on the Dirty Sheets Patreon feed and also on the Dirty Sheets subscriber feed as well. You can follow Lock Betting on X at Lock Betting X. That's at Lock Betting X. The pinned tweet on that account is the profit and loss spreadsheet from the previous month. That was the month of May, and that was the 132nd month in a row of transparent and track profit. What that means is I haven't had a single losing month in betting for 11 years. All the other spreadsheets are on X. You can scroll down and find them. All the simplest place to go is to the website lockbetting.com, where they are all there under one tab. Then that's also where you can sign up for the service. I say then because I want you to look at the spreadsheets first. I want you to do that research, that due diligence. Have a look through, have a look at the type of bets we do, have a look at the sports that we bet on, and most importantly, have a look at how we manage a bankroll. And only then should you commit and sign up for the service. And if you have any questions, my DMs are open at LockBettingX. That's at LockBettingX. For wrestling stuff, I should be on Dirty Sheets X, but Cav runs that account. I haven't been doing shows with Cab, so I need to sort out how that's going to work moving forward because I really don't want to be on wrestling Twitter. So I may need to find somebody else to run that for me. That could potentially be my son who is joining me on the show, a more intelligent replacement for Cav at the age of 13. Say hello, Austin.
Hello.
Hi. So we are going to be running through Clash at the Castle, and we're going to use betting odds to do it, although we're not going to sort of go so deep into the betting side of things. We're just going to give a pick, and that will kind of tell you who you should bet on this episode. Unlike the one we did for the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, we can go a little bit more into storylines and things that we like, things that we don't like, and how we see things playing out here and how we see the storylines after what we see at Clash playing out. So let's begin with the Women's Tag Team Championship match. We didn't talk about this at all on the other show because it was just too short of a price to consider it as something worth betting on. But Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, who were 1-8, are now the 1-10 favourites. It's 7-1 on Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, and it's 9-1 on Baszler and Zoe Stark. Austin, can you make any case for the underdogs here, or is this just Bianca and Jade winning, even though it's in Scotland?
I mean, there's a small chance that because they could not get pinned, and that maybe is like the only way to get the title off them.
To protect them.
Yeah, but I think it's most likely to be them 100% winning, retaining the titles.
So if they don't lose here, where they have the protection of a triple threat match, how do they actually end up losing? Is it just a case of they decide they're doing Bianca versus Jade at some point, and it's going to be Jade beating Bianca up and leaving her in the ring, or Bianca beating up Jade and leaving her in the ring, and then some team can just pick up an easy win?
I think they're going to have to betray each other, and one of them will go heel. And maybe one of them will go off as a bit of a single while they're the tag champ, win the belt, and the one with the belt will get stabbed in the back or something like that. But I don't think they're going to lose. I think they're going to betray each other in the middle of a match and then lose.
So you think one of them will win the world title while they're the tag team champions, and the other one will be jealous, and that's the one that will turn? Yeah. So, but you don't see anything happening in Scotland.
No, probably not.
All right, so that's kind of why we didn't bother with it on the other show, because it's a very straightforward betting pick. But here we can talk a little bit more about where we go from here. Same for the Women's Championship match. Didn't really touch it. Bayley's a 1-8 favourite. That's 800 on to win 100. Piper Niven is at 5-1. Anyway, they just give it to Piper Niven for a week or two. or they just don't do that while Triple H is in charge.
No, I don't see a point. Piper Niven, like, who is she? I just don't think she really has much of a chance. Obvious pick, Bailey here.
Do you think they should have actually saw the Scotland show coming up ahead, and Isla Dawn and Alba Fire should have won some matches, and Piper Niven should have won more matches, and leading up to this 4 or 5 weeks out, and then when they were contenders, we'd be like, oh, maybe at least. I mean, we're not even saying maybe, and we're also saying, why are they getting these matches? Because they're Scottish. Like, everybody just knows that they've been put in here because they're Scottish. There's no case at all, because not only are they Scottish, but they have terrible records, and they did nothing to repair that. Even if they started out 4 or 5 weeks out, we'd be going, oh, they're getting them ready for Scotland. But they didn't do the getting ready bit.
Yeah, it's just been the same. I don't really understand why they're even in the match. Just because they're Scottish, no point. It's obvious who's going to win.
Well, I don't think it's no point, because I think there would have been a point doing it if... Would you think if they'd done it my way? But
if they booked it properly, then yeah. But
do you think would it have made any difference to you in his prediction if Doudrop had picked up some wins along the way? I'm not sure who you really beat on SmackDown, because everybody there seems to be a baddie. You've got Nia Jax, you've got Tiffany Stratton. I mean, she could beat Mia Yim, but who would care? Like, it seems to be very lopsided over there on SmackDown.
Yeah. Raw's got more, faces.
And the main two other faces, other than Bailey, are already holding the tag team title belts.
Yeah.
So let's get off that. We didn't cover that extensively for a reason. So we now move on to things that we did talk about on the other show, but we'll get your thoughts. Gable is a favourite 1-2 against Sami Zayn, who's at 6-4. Sami Zayn was at slightly bigger odds when I did the first show, but it's moved a little bit. But Gable's still a strong favourite here. You think Gable should be favourite and he'll win?
100%. I think...
100%?
Yeah, I don't see Sami winning today. No chance.
No chance?
Even if Otis betrays him, there's been rumours of, like, the Creed brothers going with him, and I think that could happen. But it's either that happens or Otis doesn't betray him today, and he actually helps him win. But I can't see Sami winning today. I think Gable has already lost twice, and he lost in the Triple Threat. And I know he beat him on Raw, but it's his time, and they need him to have the Intercontinental title.
Why do they need him to have the Intercontinental title?
Because he's just been there for a long time.
That doesn't mean anything. Yeah,
but he would just...
R-Truth's been there a long time.
Okay, but I like this new heel character he's had, and he deserves the title. And he could maybe lose it at SummerSlam or...
See, this is the thing with you new fans, right? When something's good, you turn around and go, oh, they deserve it because they did something good. Well, the wrestling that I watched in the past, everybody did things good. When Hulk Hogan was faced with challengers, they were all good. They all deserved it. And just because they were good talkers, good wrestlers, and they made television interesting for, a few months, didn't mean that they got the belts. The idea for challengers is that they are supposed to be good. They are supposed to have wins. They are supposed to cut good promos. Just because somebody actually does their job doesn't mean that they get to have the title, which would mean... I mean, everybody's supposed to do their job. And if everybody got rewarded for doing their job, that means we'd be changing the titles every single week, every single time. So I don't necessarily agree with that. Here, I think with Sami and Cody are in the same position. We'll talk about Cody in a second, but we won't have to talk about it as much because I'll say that they're both in the same position. One dethroned Roman Reigns and one dethroned Gunther. So already... they're up against it in terms of interest in their title matches, because we were just waiting for the people they chose. Remember, we talked about it for ages. Who's going to beat Gunther? Who's going to beat Roman? And it was decided that it was going to be Sami and Cody. So now, with them being the chosen ones, you almost feel they have to have runs. It's good that you think that Chad Gable is a favourite here, and the bookies agree with you as well. It's good that already into Sammy's run that we can say, okay, I believe that his opponent is going to beat him. But I'm not necessarily sure that's the right thing to do, because it kind of waters down Gunther's run. It certainly waters down Sammy's. We've got champions in the future looking ahead where if they win, they get to beat Sami Zayn after 4 or 5 months. And Sami Zayn's run is more respectable if it ends after 4 or 5 months. It's not a complete letdown after he was chosen to beat Gunther. You just can't, in my opinion, end Cody or Sami too quickly. I think Cody gets at least 9 to 12 months. And I think Sami probably gets anywhere between 5 to 7. And I think if they get to those markers, then their wins have been justified. That's just how I see it. But I can see Otis finally turning here. I mean, the other thing we could see is Otis and the Alpha Academy helping him, and then he's completely ungrateful to them and has them beaten up by the Creed brothers on Raw because he's completely ungrateful. That's another thing that we could see. But for me, I think I'm looking at odds here, and I think the odds on Sami Zayn are too big in what I think is a 50-50 match. But it's good. But I think I'll give them credit for the fact that this is at least 50-50 in my eyes, and you see Chad as a favourite, because when we go to Cody's matches during his run, I don't think anybody's going to be anywhere near 50-50 until he faces The Rock. So we do Cody next. Cody's the favourite. He's now at 1-20. Earlier on, he was at 1-10, which still wasn't great, but now he's at 1-20, and AJ's at 8-1. You enjoyed this segment that got us to this match. You said that it might make you more interested in... It's made you more interested in Clash. But interest prior to that was at an all-time low, I would say.
Yeah, it was pretty low. But this AJ Styles turn, Mark Henry thing, it's been really good. And him bringing the OC back together properly. And I really don't see either of them saying, I quit, to be honest. And I also don't know who's going to help Cody in the match because the OC's there. So maybe something could happen there. But obviously it's just too short for Cody to lose the title now. So it's an obvious winner of Rhodes.
Yeah, but you see, you don't see Cody in the same position as Sami, because you said Chad Gable's done really good work, but then you said AJ's done really good work. So what's the difference? Well,
Cody, he had the whole year thing from WrestleMania 39. He had that whole dragged on thing. And also, this title was much more important than the Intercontinental.
Which is why I said, I think Cody needs a minimum 9 to 12 months, whereas Sami, if he holds it 4 or 5, then it seems almost justified that he beat Gunther. If Sami got that Rocky story at WrestleMania, then I think Sami's loss needs to make a superstar, because then you sort of piggyback off Gunther. You say, okay, he beat the guy who beat Gunther. I don't think that should be Chad Gable. I think that should be a real superstar maker, whoever gets that win. And I'm looking at Bron Breakker as the guy.
I was also going to look at Bron Breakker, maybe Carmelo Hayes.
Carmelo Hayes is on SmackDown.
I know. Oh, yeah.
There isn't too many people as you go down.
Yeah, there isn't that many.
I mean,
maybe Bronson Reed. Probably not. But yeah, it's got to be Gable, Breakker.
Maybe Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah,
because he's
possibly.
On Raw. Because he could have that championship.
Maybe Bowler.
If you're going to rebuild Balor, yeah, but you've got a lot of work to do.
I think Bowler could win Money in the Bank.
Did you notice Balor pick up the hotel key card?
Yeah.
What you noticed, you saw that happen?
Yeah.
I didn't see it at first. I only saw it on Instagram.
I saw it on the first time I watched Raw.
I didn't know you watched Raw this week.
No, I watch Raw every week.
Would you be saying no to Liv Morgan?
No comment.
All right, I don't think we need to answer. I think we know. The last match is Uncle Drew is going up against Damian Priest. And a little bit of, not too much. The odds are slightly different to earlier on, where Drew was 23-20. He's now 11-10, so it's moved a little bit. I think this could be a bit of money, as we're a few hours out from the show, a bit of money going on Drew from people who just can't see him losing. But the storyline is that CM Punk is going to cost him the title. CM Punk said, even if I have to come to Scotland and jump out of a bowl of haggis. So that's probably why you're seeing Priest as a 13-20 favourite. But I kind of changed my mind on this. I thought it was a certainty that Drew wasn't going to win because the storyline kind of told you they were setting up Drew and Punk. And then especially when Gunther's the number one contender at SummerSlam, you have to do Drew and Punk at SummerSlam, which is what I was thinking. But as we get towards the show as well, and it looks like the Scots are going to go 3-0. We've got 3 Scottish underdogs in Scotland. I think one of them needs to win. I think they find a way to get it off Priest, who's a very bad champion, and still carry on with Drew and Punk. I think somehow Drew wins, but isn't the champion at SummerSlam because it can't be Gunther versus Drew because it must be Punk versus Drew, assuming Punk is ready. I thought of a very elaborate way to get here. Drew wins here. Punk helps Drew win instead of costing him because Pierce has already told him, you're the number one contender when you come back because you were the Royal Rumble runner-up. So because Cody chose Roman, the next contender would be Punk, at least if the Royal Rumble means anything. So anyway, that's just neither here nor there. You actually don't need to do anything in wrestling to get title shots. All you need to do is come out and ask for them. Sometimes they do tournaments, sometimes they do battle royals, they have Royal Rumbles, they have King of the Rings, but they also have random guys just coming out and saying, hey, I want the title shot. And then the other guy goes, yeah, cool, I'll see it at the pay-per-view. So it doesn't really make any sense, does it? So there's no rules. So if Punk knows he's the number one contender, he could come out and help Drew in Scotland, and that's how he wins. Or it could be a case of Punk picks up a chair and smashes the wrong person, or Punk's trying to help Priest and Priest doesn't want the help and he takes out Punk. Because remember, we've been doing this whole thing where Priest doesn't want the Judgment Day's help and Priest wants to do everything on his own, and he could stop Punk from helping him and Drew could take advantage of the situation. Either way, I think something happens here to make this crowd happy. They're paying £300 for tickets. They've struggled to sell out the building, and you've given them a really shitty card. You need to send your boy home with the belt. What are you saying?
Yeah, I think I literally told you that thing earlier that you just said with like CM Punk helping Drew, or
You never told me that.
Yeah, I did. I told you in the car like an hour ago. Anyway, I do think that McIntyre will win, but I could honestly see this match going either way. Obviously, I hope McIntyre wins because he's our friend. Yeah, that's about it. And I hope Punk GTS's Priest and helps McIntyre.
But that's not really in line with the story, is it? That would only happen. That's very far fetched. That would only happen if he's actually the number one contender. He has. I mean, that's the only way I have him helping him. The more likely thing, I think, is him either making a mistake or Priest just tells him, I don't want your help. It has to be a miscommunication or a misfire, I think.
Another thing that can happen is he wins it and he defends it against someone at Money in the Bank, and then Punk's there at Money in the Bank.
But why is Punk in Scotland?
To cost Drew, but then maybe Drew accidentally helps Drew win somehow, some way. Anyway.
What do you think about Punk coming down and then Drew has Sheamus there and Sheamus takes out CM Punk?
I would not really like that. No point.
No point?
Yeah, why would they do that?
Because Drew can say, I knew you'd come, I had a plan for you. And then you could have Punk returning against Sheamus and picking up a win at Money in the Bank in a return match.
Yeah, but
That's fine. That's fine.
That's not that bad, but I'd prefer it if it was like accidentally help Punk some way. I mean, accidentally help Drew some way. But I could see like him getting cashed in on again and Punk screwing him again at Money in the Bank. And then it'll be like a real big rivalry.
Yeah, I think Drew loses the belt at Money in the Bank no matter what.
Yeah.
Which, again, is like this title, which Seth held it. I don't think Seth was a great champion, but you got to be careful when you're hot potatoing titles around all the time. For my lock on this show, I was tempted to parlay a few easy things together, but they're way too short. You wouldn't even get... you wouldn't even get to 1 to 2 odds by parlaying some of this shit together. And I'm not sure about... And one of the favourites, Chad Gable, I'm not sure about. So I'm just going to go for Drew at plus money. Drew McIntyre at 11 to 10 is my lock on this show. You don't have to give a lock, but...
No, I have a lock.
Go on.
Gable,
okay.
100% he's winning.
Okay, that's not official for you guys. You only need to officially bet my lock if you're listening on lock betting. So, yeah, he's gone for Gable. That's not official. I've gone for Drew. That is official. We will be taking Drew McIntyre at the price of 11 to 10 to leave this pay-per-view or PLE as the new World Heavyweight Champion. There's no strong reasoning behind it, other than the fact that WWE are going to Scotland. They've got 3 Scottish challengers. There's a very real possibility, according to the odds, that the Jocks go 0-3 in a building that they didn't sell out but charged a lot of money for. And I think obviously it puts McIntyre in a bad spot if he comes home here and loses in front of his friends and family. And yeah, I just think they find a way for Drew to win and still carry on with the story. Plus, Priest is complete shit as champion. He's been awful, and I've no problem ending his run. That's it for me. That's it for Austin. Good luck with all of your bets as always, guys, and thanks for listening.